Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. We're in a celebratory mood here at DRF because last week we exceeded 20,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. I want to thank our producers, Chloe and Lucia, for their excellent work, all the great handicappers and analysts that contribute to the DRF YouTube channel. And of course, I want to thank all of you who allow us into your homes and on your phones to watch the DRF analysis and let us talk racing with you. And if you haven't subscribed just yet, please do so, because join the party. We've got cupcakes, 20K, DRF. Mike, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it certainly is. I got a cupcake too, in case you were wondering. I got one. Yeah, I want to thank everybody for subscribing, Dan. I gotta feel like most people probably join in because of you, Dan. You're a true professional. I'm happy to be working with you, and I'm happy people tune in.
Mike, you're very honest, and that's why you're a great handicapper, because you can spot talent. That's why he's the best analyst in the business. Thank you very much. 20,000 subscribers. Here's to 20K more. Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. Saturday's co-feature race at Keeneland is the Grade 3 Lexington. 3-year-olds running a mile and a 16th with the short stretch. Let's take a look at this field for race number 9. $400,000 is the purse. It's the last Kentucky Derby qualifying points race. The only horse with a chance to break into the Derby field is the number 6 Disarm, who's the 7-2 co-second choice on the morning line. Second last time out in the Louisiana Derby when perhaps pace compromised. He's got to win it to get in.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Well, first of all, it'll be interesting to see if he wins this race so they can get in, and then whether he winds up going in the Derby. I personally feel like I'd like to see him get the shot, Dan, to run on the first Saturday. And I think this horse is a little bit underrated, and I think he's run really well in his 2 starts this year without getting lucky either time.
I do think he does need to win this race, though, to get in. I think even a good second, third, or fourth, and even with some defections, he probably hasn't shown enough to deserve a shot in the Derby field. Remember to click or scan the QR code for Race of the Day access on your mobile devices with free formulator past performances. It's a big field, and we'll throw up the Timeform US pace projector, and I agree with Timeform US. I think the 11 Arabian Lion, a horse coming in from Southern California off a couple of very disappointing efforts for Bob Baffert. This horse just has to go from a terrible post position. That red bar fast pace probably doesn't bode well for him.
No, it doesn't. We'll see how fast this pace gets. I guess you're right, though, Dan. I mean, I think from post 11, just based on his 2 starts since Baffert stretched him out in distance, they probably just have to take their chances on the front end here and see what happens.
A horse that's going to be hoping for a very fast pace up front is the number 1 Baseline Beater. This horse was a maiden special weight winner 2 starts back at the fairgrounds, coming from way out of it. They ran him in the Louisiana Derby at a big price, and he was probably overmatched, but the pace just wasn't there for him. Corey Lannery, inside post, he's not leaving the rail.
Yeah, you're right, though. His most recent start, I mean, it doesn't mean that he ran well in that race, Dan, but he just had no chance in there. There was no pace in front of him. He's last all the way around the track. He was actually trying to run on at the end of that race, but there was just no way he was going to make an impact. His running style hurts. I think it hurts him in just about every race that he runs in. He wants that pace projector that we just looked at. He wants every bit of that to be true.
The number 2 is Reinvest, unbeaten from 2 lifetime starts for a very underrated trainer in Timothy Ham. Let's watch Reinvest's first 2-turn race. This is a first-level allowance at Tampa Bay last month, and he sat in behind the lead. He comes through along the inside. He's very professional. He's just slow right now. This race only earned a 70 buyer speed figure.
Yeah, he got a great trip in this race, but he also won it, pretty convincingly at the end. I thought that he's getting away from these horses late. I also felt like his debut was pretty good. Sprinted, did not look like a sprinter, but I feel like he just won that race on talent alone. He's got a really nice pedigree. He's a huge price on the line. He looks very much like the 2 Brad Cox horses in this race who are going to be way shorter prices than him. He just doesn't have the figures, and I don't feel like he's the kind of horse you want to get hung up on figures with, Dan. This horse is okay.
Demolition Duke is the number 3. He's trained by Brad Cox. He was a debut winner sprinting. He just missed in his first start around 2 turns, first start against winners. That race was at the fairgrounds. It was a race that didn't have a ton of pace. He got beat a neck that day. He seems tactical, upwardly mobile, but because it's Brad Cox and Flavian Pride, he will get bent a little bit.
Yeah, he probably will. I probably deservedly so, I guess, Dan. I mean, he's another one. He's run really well in his 2 starts also. Sprinting, he was very green first time out, but I like the way he finished. got forced really wide on the first turn last time when there was trouble to his inside. After that, he got a great trip. He just followed his stablemate Bishop's Bay around the track. Bishop's Bay looks like he's really good, and this horse just couldn't quite get to him at the end, but he ran fine.
Transect, the number 4, won his first 2 starts over the all-weather at Turfway Park. Both of those races were sprinting. They tried him on dirt in the Gotham, but he has a ready-made excuse. That race was run over a muddy track, and maybe Transect just didn't like it. He's going to get blinkers for the first time in the Bluegrass, in the Lexington, stretching out around 2 turns. He's bred to handle it.
Yeah, well, he's a gun runner for sure. He's got a lot of quality on the bottom of his pedigree. Dan, I kind of feel like there's a lot of sprint down there. So we'll see how effective this horse winds up being going longer. I'm happy to give him an excuse for the Gotham. Last time he was not good in that race. I did like his first 2 starts, but they were sprinting on a different surface.
Brad Cox trains the Godolphin homebred, the number 5 First Mission. Seemed a little bit green sprinting in his career debut. Then he was odds on second time out. He was very, very impressive, winning that mile in his 16th race. He sat right off the leader. When it was time to go, he went, and he won by open lengths.
Yeah, it was a very visually impressive win last time. If anybody hasn't seen it, he had a pretty soft trip in that race, but he also looked really good winning. He also faced his stablemate Bishop's Bay in his debut. He took a huge run at that horse and got turned away, but it was a really nice performance. At this point, Dan, there's kind of no telling how good this horse is. I guess it'll be a pretty short price in here, though.
Here's the horse looking to get enough points to make it into the Kentucky Derby field. The number 6, Disarm. I like both of his starts last year for trainer Steve Asmussen, including his maiden win at Saratoga going 7/8 of a mile. Then he missed the rest of the year. I thought he ran fine in his first start back off the layoff. It was a very good prep for the Louisiana Derby. And in the Louisiana Derby, we talked about it. There wasn't a lot of pace. The winner got loose up front. This horse was trying very hard for second and can move forward.
Really liked the way that he finished in that race too, Dan. It was a pretty significant stretch out he was facing. Aside from stepping way up in class, he was blocked around the final turn, had no chance to improve his position as Kingsbarns was just starting to open up on that field. This horse really ran at the end of that race. It was actually making up ground on that horse. I think both of his starts this year were underrated. Like you, I thought he looked really good as a 2-year-old. I think he's supposed to be really tough in here. And if he's not the favorite, I'm probably going to bet him.
Dennington is the number 7. He's taken on some decent company, 3rd in the Smarty Jones, 4th in the LeCompte, but maybe he's just a cut below grade stakes class right now. He got a pretty good trip from off the pace when he won a first level allowance 2 starts back, and like several in this field, he just had nothing to run at in the Louisiana Derby.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I'm willing to give him the excuse in the Louisiana Derby last time. He also didn't really finish that well in there, but at least he tried to make a run. I mean, he was off the pace, but he was wide. He tried to move up the backstretch. He tried to make a wide run around the final turn. It just wasn't really happening. He looked pretty good winning 2 starts back, and maybe he'll just have a better setup here, Dan. He's far from impossible. He's a great price on the line.
Here's an intriguing contender trained by Bill Mott, ridden by Frankie Dettori. The number 8, Empire Strikes Fast, who won his career debut at Gulfstream, going a 2-turn mile in his 16th with the short stretch. Now, not only was the race fast, a 92 Beyer speed figure, but the horse that he's going to outgame to the wire is Dreamlike, who bounced out of this race and as a maiden ran 3rd in the Wood Memorial with a 93 Beyer speed figure. So this race was certainly flattered, and I guess the figure was as well.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, it feels like that figure's been confirmed. This horse ran really well for him. He did not get a lot of respect in that race, but that's mostly because Dreamlike was taking all the money. And it's worth pointing out that Dreamlike had already had a start too, Dan. This horse was a first-time starter there. Took on that horse through the stretch and fought him off. That was a really good performance. It came back fast. And Mott, is going to take the next logical step, I guess, Dan. You might as well see what you got here and run him in a little stakes race at Keeneland.
Prairie Hawk is up next, and this horse took a nice step forward last time out at a giant price against 3 next out winners in the Tampa Bay Derby. It was a race where he stayed close to the pace. He was able to hang around to finish 4th. We know that Tapit Trice won that race and came back and won the Bluegrass with a 99 Beyer speed figure. He looks to be moving forward slowly with each and every start.
Yeah, he ran pretty well last time, too. I guess as time has gone on, that performance looks even better now, Dan. I mean, I don't think either of us were really thrilled with the Tampa Bay Derby at the time. It looks like a much better race right now, a few weeks later. And this horse was up close the entire way, fought on, only got tired late. It was actually, he had probably improved more than it even looks on paper in there.
The number 10 is Curly Larry, and Mo, who's only raced twice previously on dirt, has not won on the main track, was part of a fast-paced Saratoga maiden going 3/4 of a mile in his second lifetime start. He has shown speed, and I won't be surprised if they try to send him out of here, but he's got a lot of class and distance and surface issues to address.
Yeah, it's true. It's hard. I mean, I guess one way to look at him, if you just wanted to take some kind of shot or use him somewhere at a huge price, and he will be a huge price, is his first two starts on dirt at Saratoga, they actually weren't that bad. And maybe he just hasn't really had a chance to improve a lot since, because they've only been running him on turf. Maybe he wants dirt, Dan. I don't know. I couldn't talk myself into that argument, but it's one way to look at him, and he's going to be a huge price.
The Baffert train runner is the 11 Arabian Lion, who enjoyed a good trip but looked good visually, winning his career debut going 3/4 at Santa Anita, then ran okay behind a rail skimming winner in his second lifetime start, also sprinting that race at Keeneland. His two-turn races have not been good. It's interesting that Baffert is shipping him all the way across the country to run here when he can obviously turn him back and run him in a one-turn mile, maybe somewhere up in New York, or maybe run him even in a first-level allowance race somewhere in Southern California. He says he likes the way this horse has been training. You know Baffert's style. They're going to send him.
Yeah, he'll come out of there running. I guess it's also worth noting that Irad's going to take them out again here, so maybe that's a good sign as well. Dan, I don't know. He's not for me. He was terrible 2 starts back. He was terrible last time in a race that, to me, I got a 100 figure for the winner. I still don't buy that figure at all. I want this horse to confirm it. But I don't really want to talk about this horse too much. I think you like him more than I do, so you should talk about him. I'm not using this horse.
Yeah, I think it's a fair point to question the number, because if you believe the number, all of a sudden that 92 buyer speed figure puts him in the mix. It's hard to love that number, especially seeing the horses that have come out of the race. I think Hard to Figure didn't run very well in the Sunland Derby, and one of the other horses, Reincarnate, was terrible in the UAE Derby. So it's fair to question the figure. That being said, as we take a look at our top selections for this race, I think Arabian Lion's going to be hustled out of there. I think he's going to make the front, and I think this short stretch might carry him. 7-2 is way too short. I'm not sure I can get 5 or 6 to 1 on him, but that's all I will accept. I think Disarm's the horse to beat. I'd like to see him run well because I'm a fan.
Yeah, me too. And if he's not, I actually feel like he's very fairly priced on the morning line, Dan. So if that's how they bet the race, I'm going to take him in here. The 2 Brad Cox horses to me both look like they have a chance to be pretty good. This horse has a pretty significant experience edge on them, though, and I like all of his races.
6, 5, 7, 8 for Mike. Major contender is the 6 Disarm. Let's see if Arabian Lion can figure out what's gone wrong in his last 2 starts. 11, 6, 8, 5 for me. It's the Lexington. We'll see if Disarm earns enough points to make it into the gate on the first Saturday in May.